Thank you, sister. Thank you for that sweet introduction and the welcome. And thank you for having me here again. Wonderful to meet you all. So the most important point, I thought it was a topic which, you know, would look a little more curious to everyone. The reason why I chose that was, you know, when the lives of people today is so busy and no one has time to spend a lot of time on any one thing. Like if someone has read a book, they might just ask, oh, so, you know, tell me the story in short, or like, what's the gist of this? Someone has heard about something, then they'll ask, oh, what's the main point? Just tell me those things. If someone's going for the exam and doesn't have time to study all of it, they just want to know the key points so that, you know, that is sufficient for them to go ahead and give the exam. So was just wondering, you know, we learn Raj Yoga, knowledge, meditation, and that's a lot as well. Like there's vastness. It's a knowledge, it's an ocean of knowledge. But if we want to summarize it in some main points, which would be essential enough, you know, to kind of summarize everything, what would that be? So that is where this topic is coming from, to kind of know, is there any such main key things that we should know that can, you know, just help us sail through. And I would say there are 3 points that we learn about. And it's literally a point in terms of, if you visualize how a point looks like. One meaning of a point is, you know, a little text or a line of a few words. On the other hand, if you think about what a point is, so in other words, it's like a dot, like a tiny star, something like you see on the, say in the background here. So that's a point. Yeah. So what's the first point that we learn about in Raj Yoga? I'm not sure if all of you have done the course or, you know, aim to do it. If you haven't, I would definitely, you know, request you to do the Raj Yoga course, the basic course. So one of the first things that we learn as part of this course is realizing, recognizing who we are. It's like getting an introduction of ourselves. And we learn that we are a soul. And a soul is nothing but a point of light. Just like a star in the sky, that is how each one of us looks like. We are not this mortal beings of 5 elements that we see, which is a perishable, is made of matter. So that is one of the main things we learn, that I am a point. I am not this body. Now, some of you might say, yes, sister, we learned this in the course, or we have heard about it. We know this. So how does it help us? One is knowing about it theoretically. And the next step, I would say, is getting deeper into understanding it, experiencing it, and then gradually being it. And that's a journey. And sometimes we say that this point is the first point as well as the last point on the spiritual path. And some of them name this as soul consciousness. So we start off by understanding that I am a soul. And as we get deeper and deeper into this practice, we become better at it, obviously. And eventually the aim is to be in a soul conscious state always, not by remembering it theoretically, but naturally just being there. And not just remembering that I am a soul or a point, but also everyone that I interact with is also this beautiful point of light. For a moment, if you just visualize a scene of, none of these external things that you see is there. Just do away with all these scenes. No bodies, no buildings, no roads, nothing. Just tiny dots all over. Every human that you know or see is just this tiny, beautiful star. How does it feel? It gives a really beautiful experience if you practice it. It's like a constellation that we see in the sky, isn't it? And the aim is, the more we become soul conscious, the more we start seeing others as a soul. We also start, not wasting our energy, or we say we conserve the energy. So a result of soul consciousness is we stop thinking waste or unnecessary or negative thoughts. And as a result, our energy is not depleted. We start looking at our inner self rather than comparing with the external. So a lot of benefits there. We start remaining light. The heaviness that we get because of the waste and negativity, there's no margin for it to come in now. So that's one. What's the second point? What do you think it may be? Any guesses? And feel free to post any questions that you may have in the chat box, or if you have any comments as well. We can take a few question answers at the end if you like. So what do you think maybe the second point? The second point is a even more brighter, even more powerful, even more pure, the Supreme. The Supreme Soul is also a point, just as we souls. And one wonderful thing is, today the entire world is seeking, searching, praying for that higher power, be it in any way, different ways, but they all need something. And when we really know who he is, how he is, and how do I connect to that Supreme Source? It's a very, very invaluable secret, isn't it? Just imagine that there are thousands of them who are searching and seeking for something, but you know the secret. How does it feel? Special? You will have that internal happiness. So that is something we gain by knowing this second point. And that's the Supreme Soul, the point of supreme energy, a being of light who has all powers, all virtues in abundance. And when we start to connect with this Supreme Source, we start transforming. We start becoming even more brighter, like the stars start shining, like there's some polishing being done on us, isn't it? So how wonderful, knowing one point and then connecting to that even more beautiful point. And then there's this download of energy, which is so, so beautiful. Like we have a source that can never deplete, isn't it? I'm sure if you have done any kind of meditation practice before, or will be doing as well, you will definitely have this experience if you haven't experienced so far. And the third one, as they say, is point about this play that we are all playing. Like if you consider this earth, which is round, and now look at this earth in the universe. How does it look like? Amongst all the planets, the sun, moon, stars, this earth is this tiny dot, isn't it? And in this tiny dot is where the play is being played all the time. So another way of looking at it is this is a big stage, and all of us are like actors, and all of us have these scripts that we keep enacting all the time. So even whatever is happening in our lives is a part of this script. So whatever we have done, whatever situations have come, whatever people might have said, everything is a part of this play, of this script, or drama, as we use this word. And when we have this awareness or realization that everything that is happening is a game, then we feel more detached from it, and we don't absorb the pain, the hurt, or these negative emotions that we usually, kind of pull into ourselves immediately when something happens. So this point of drama, as we call it, helps us to put a full stop to any kind of questions that come up. Why did this happen? Shouldn't have happened. What will happen? So questions of the past or the future, any kind of fear, worry, all of these helps us put a full stop. And what happens when there are no such question marks? There is more peace, there is more calmness, there's more stability. There's no upheaval of thoughts. There's more certainty. So just one awareness that this is a drama, this is a play, and putting a full stop and moving on. And in other words, we call it the power to let go. So many things just in this one point. So drama, putting a full stop, saying past is past, makes us unshakable, immovable in every situation. So it's a very wonderful and magical word in a way. Very easy to remember. As we say, it's the most easiest punctuation you can find, isn't it? Someone who doesn't know how to read and write also can put this punctuation mark. So how easy is it to apply these points in our life? Not just theoretical knowledge, that is definitely, good to have, but that's the very first step. How can I start applying these in my life every time? What do I have to do? One is, yes, knowing it helps me shield myself from a lot of negativity. But how do I make it permanent? What's the method to always apply these points so that it becomes a natural habit for me? Not that I have to think and apply. It becomes my natural way of being. How can I start doing that? So I would say the first step is to start churning. Churning is thinking more deeply about these points. When I say I am a soul, what kind of soul am I? What qualities do I have? What are the different titles that I have? And what do they mean? When we say titles, it means titles of self-respect. When we call out different virtues and powers, what does it mean? So when I start churning on each of these, I get more and more insights. And the more I churn, I remain in that awareness for a longer time. And when I'm constantly thinking about it, one, I am not thinking about other ways things, so I am already protected. And when I churn a lot more, I start practicing it, or in other words, I start experiencing it. So one is knowing, second is churning it, so understanding it deeply, and then is experience. And when we have experienced it, it becomes permanent. So be it churning about the soul, about the Supreme Soul, how he is, what all powers does he have, what all virtues does he have, what do I receive from the Supreme Soul, how do I connect to the Supreme Soul, all of this. And the way I connect with the Supreme Soul, those methods can be churned. When I do that, I start practicing it, experiencing it, and that experience gives me, makes it permanent for me. So I would highly recommend that you start on this journey if you haven't, and get more and more experiences, because that is what becomes yours. Someone can start or, set you on the path. However, to keep going is each individual's responsibility. And I have to start experiencing it myself. And then I know how much true it is for me. Right? So just 3 points, not many points, but very, very important. And one more thing, in a very interesting way, if we want to see, is if we consider the point as a 0, like a bigger point. And as they say, if you have a digit 1 and you start applying zeros to it, what happens? So 1 becomes a 10, 10 becomes 100, 100 becomes 1,000, and so on. It goes on multiplying, isn't it? So these points, if we see, are something like that. The more you start applying these points, it's like going on adding zeros. So the benefits that you get in your life starts multiplying, not just by 10 or 100, many, many, multi-million fold. So isn't that a very interesting way of becoming wealthier spiritually? So yeah, it's good to give it a try. And I did see there was a question in the chat, so I'll just answer it. So it says, isn't comparison or competition required for reflection and further progress? So when we talk about comparison or competition, with whom? So sometimes you may feel that, I am at a certain level, and then if I compare myself with some other person, then I have a benchmark to reach. But the fact or truth is, we may feel that a certain soul who is playing their own part is similar to me, and I can compare myself with them. And that is why we feel I should be comparing. However, every soul on this earth has a different part. And that's the fact. It's like comparing oranges and apples, as we say. Can we compare these two? Can't, right? They are both different and good in their own ways. So if I really feel that I want to compare myself with someone to progress, there is only one soul whom you can compare yourself with. And who do you think that is? Don't settle down for anyone than the best. And that's the Supreme Soul. Is there anyone who is better than the Supreme Soul? Start comparing yourself with him. How do you think that will feel? The Supreme Soul will start helping you become like him. And there's no other beautiful experience you will ever get. I want to become the best. I start comparing myself to the best. I start looking at how the best is and what I have to bring in myself. And yes, why not? There is progress at every step then. So don't compare or compete with human souls. If you want a benchmark, consider the best. Okay, so I think we're running out of time, but I hope this was a short and sweet, essence-full talk. But lastly, before ending, I had a couple of lines that I had picked from one of our regular spiritual classes that we have. And it was something related to this topic, and I thought it was very interesting. So I'll just read it out, and then maybe we can end with a couple of minutes of meditation. So it says, when any situation or any of the elements come in front of you, so it may be situations or any kind of circumstances or people's behavior or the nature behaving differently, and anything. So when any situation or any of the elements come in front of you to make you fluctuate, remember two words at that time. The method is either to use not or to apply a dot. So these two words, N-O-T and D-O-T, not or dot. And we'll see how this can be used, not or dot. If something is wrong, then think not, which means you must not do that. You must not think about it. You must not do it. You must not speak about it. But apply a dot and it will become a not. Which means just if you see something wrong, then think of the word not, which means I do not have to think, speak, or do, but I have to apply a dot, which means I have to just let go of it. Think of dot and apply a dot. Finish. So it's all about knowing when, where, and how to apply a dot or a point. Okay, so thank you very much. It was really wonderful. We could have discussed more, but maybe some other time. Maybe just have a quick minute of meditation. Sitting quietly and relaxing ourselves completely. I visualize in the center of my forehead this tiny dot, shining point of eternal light. This is me. I am a beautiful star, a soul. And I know that my Father, the Supreme Soul, is also a shining point of light, just like me. Visualizing that Supreme Soul, I sit in front of him and absorb the rays of powers and virtues flowing in. Like sitting beneath a fountain, filling myself with complete peace, love, happiness. It energizes me and makes me ready to face any situation in my life. And also, I have the shield of Brahma that I can always apply to keep myself safe and secure. I will try to practice and be in the awareness of these points and continue to make progress day by day. Om Shanti.